Hey, so it's February 23rd. We're into the prime time of the habitat season. You know, we're doing our hinge cutting, we're doing our flush cutting, we're improving all aspects of the property right now. This is the perfect time. You know, ground is typically frozen. Right now, we're kind of getting some odd weather. It's snowing right now, but the ground is not frozen whatsoever. You know, here in the Midwest, it's been kind of a bizarre winter, but it was 60 degrees yesterday. Today it's about 40. It's looking like it's going to be 70 next week, then dump off again into the teens a couple days later. So it's been very bizarre winter. But regardless of that, this is habitat season. And what I want to get across to you guys today is one of the first and foremost things you need to be doing when we're talking about improving habitat on your property. One of the first things we need to do is we need to tackle the invasives. We need to analyze and understand what our invasive population looks like and how we can manage that. So why invasives is number one on your priority list for improving your habitat and your property in general is because invasives provide great side cover. You'll hear a lot of guys talk about side cover, side cover, side cover. I'm one of them, but at the same time, invasive side cover is virtually irrelevant. When you're talking about invasive side cover, we don't have any food value for deer. It's a low quality browse. Like I said, invasives are virtually useless when it comes to food value. And when we're trying to get the most of our acreage, when we're talking about a property size, putting native shrubs, trees on that property, that's gonna be your top draw because most other properties are covered with invasives like this here buckthorn. So when we're talking about controlling invasives, there's a lot of different ways we can approach managing invasives and ridding your property of them. Now, when I say ridding, I mean temporarily because these things are forever going to be a problem, a thorn in our side, right? So when I'm talking about the management practices of thinning out invasives or overall removing them, there's a lot of different ways you can approach it. You can hack and squirt with a chemical like Thordon. There's something called a pollarding cut. During the summer months, you come in a couple times, take the top of that tree off when all the energy is up towards the top, producing leaves, producing seeds. You lop that tree off up high, wound it essentially, you damage that plant's energy, you force it to recover from that wound. Now the last is going to be fire. You can run fire through your timber and try to manage invasives that way. A lot of times that's not going to get hot enough to kill some of these bigger, older, mature invasives. Guys, what's going on? It's Gunnar. A lot of you have been reaching out saying you need more help. Well, I want to mention my habitat company, Hanson Habitat. If you want to take whitetails and wildlife to the next level on your own property, installing food plots, timber management, edge feathering, native habitat, fruit tree planting, whatever you need, bedding cover. I'm working with a team of the best land managers in the state of Wisconsin, and we'll travel, we'll do whatever you need to take your property to the next level. Shoot me a text message, 608-632-7233. We'll get you on the list. I'll help you with whatever you need. I got your back for life. Let's get back to the video. So something I tested out last spring is I came in here with a blowtorch, and once these buckthorn started greening up and started leaving out, I came in here and I took a blowtorch and I made a ring around the base. And as you can see, I just broke these off, but these are completely dead. They snapped right off. There's no life left in them. This only took 5-10 seconds around the base of this tree when it's soft, when it's pliable, when it's growing, when it's sending that energy up to the top to start producing leaves. It's very susceptible. You can burn, you can damage that cambium layer right on the outside of this tree and kill it off. When we're talking about torch killing, I like to use this far more than I do a chemical like a hack and squirt or a pollarding cut because my time is very limited. I'm being much more efficient with my time when I'm trying to manage these invasives. So I'm coming in here with a blowtorch for 5-10 seconds, hitting each of these shrubs, killing them off, this buckthorn in particular, but I'm not putting out a lot of chemicals onto my ground and damaging my soil and my native regrowth at the same time. I'm killing these trees. They're sending all those nutrients right back into the topsoil so I can promote native regrowth. And as you can see, I've got some blackberry briars behind me, which are coming, which is a good native browse for deer. But this buckthorn is very hardy. It's tough to beat out for a native because, as we all know, invasives green up 2 to 3 weeks sooner than natives do, and they stay green 2 to 3 weeks longer than natives do. They hold their leaves longer into the fall and they green up earlier in the spring. So they virtually have an extra month of growing time to beat out these native plants. That's why they thrive so well in properties that aren't managing them correctly. In the prime, in the heart of habitat season is when we're gonna go in and select cut or clear cut an area, we need to be aware of the growth at the forest floor level. What is the primary growth right now, that early growth that is already taking place? Because I had a guy ask me a question the other day. He said, what do you think is gonna come in here once we open this canopy? I said, look around at the forest floor. Whatever is growing there, a lot more of it. And you can see this young buckthorn, this honeysuckle, autumn olive. You can see a lot of these invasives, that multiflora rose, that too. You can see a lot of these invasives starting to come early before you open that canopy, so you need to be careful. You need to have a plan in place to go in there and wipe this stuff out before it has the chance to take over an area like this right here. It's not terrible, but there's a lot of buckthorn in here that still needs to get killed. I missed some last spring when I came in here with that blowtorch. So a forest floor analysis before you go in. So if we go in there and whack an area and all that comes back is invasives, that's virtually useless for wildlife. For the deer we're trying to help out with this habitat improvement, we're not doing anything. We need to make sure we're promoting native regrowth, regeneration, high quality browse for these deer, so they will spend more time on our property. They are spending more time in our bedding areas, in our clear cuts. And at the same time, when the birds are eating these plants, the seeds of these plants, and they're spreading them around the property, we're not spreading invasives all over the place. Side cover is important, it's top priority, but side cover with food value. Side cover with food value equals native. Side cover with no food value is invasive. If you don't know your invasive species, get a hold of your local forester, somebody that understands these plants, what they look like. Buckthorn is fairly easy to identify because you're gonna get chewed up pretty good if you walk through it. It's got these white splotches on it. It's usually pretty straight, few stems coming off, but it's just burly nasty. You get these burrs on there that are just gonna tear you up. It's awful. But like I said, it's pretty easy to kill with a blowtorch. If you come in here, put it right on that base for 5-10 seconds, plenty of time. Make sure that plant is alive. Dormant season, you're not gonna have an effective kill. If you try to kill it when it's dormant, it's gonna stump sprout and you're gonna have another problem in the spring. So make sure that tree is starting to green up. It's got juices flowing up to the top. It's pushing energy up to get the sunlight to produce leaves. And I guarantee you'll be far more efficient and effective killing invasive plants with a blowtorch versus that hack and squirt Thordon or the pollarding cuts where you're going in multiple times trying to kill these plants, or just running a slow rolling forest fire through your woods to promote regeneration is not going to be nearly as effective as going in with a blowtorch and hitting these plants right at the base of that stump for 5-10 seconds. Guarantee you'll be far more effective, eliminate far more invasive shrubs and plants on your property, and promote that native regeneration that the deer will thank you for later. Guys, it's Gunnar. Look, a lot of you guys have been talking to me, telling me how you need help. Well, I want to talk to you today about Whitetail coaching. One-on-one virtual coaching with me. We'll go in-depth on whatever problems, whatever help you need. We'll find the solution you're looking for. Shoot me a text, 608-632-7233. 608-632-7233. I got your back for life.